Darcy pulled out his pocket-watch and checked the time. Where is Avery? The butler informed Darcy that the young lord was temporarily detained elsewhere, and that he would be most obliged if Darcy would wait for him, for he would be along shortly. He was not unaware that Lady Elizabeth was staring at him. Having garnered more than his fair share of stares from young ladies, he was given to believe that was a practice they enjoyed. Whereas this was normally the worst means of garnering his approbation, nothing could be further from the truth when it came to Lady Elizabeth. He recalled thinking how she was much too young to give any serious consideration when they first met at Pemberley. Now look at her. Darcy supposed some conversation ought to be had. The room was too quiet, and they had been sitting in that same attitude for a while. On the other hand, she had joined him. Although their prior time in company had largely extended to those times when Darcy visited her brother, he knew her well enough to know that if she desired conversation, she would not hesitate to embark upon it. The first time they talked, really talked, came to mind. It had been the evening of her coming-out ball. "Come now, Mr. Darcy, surely you must dance, or do you mean to frustrate the hopes of every young lady in attendance?" "In point of fact, Lady Elizabeth, I had but one purpose in coming here this evening." "And what, may I ask, was that?" "My purpose in coming here was to dance with you, but I understand that your dance card is full." "And you know this because—" "Your brother informed me as much." "Oh, what a shame that is, Mr. Darcy. Pray next time you are in wish of dancing with me, you will ask me in advance of the party. As intimate as you are with my brother, I am sure I would make every attempt to save the best dance for you in anticipation of your request." "Are you laughing at me, Lady Elizabeth?" Darcy recalled asking. "Is the gentleman not to be laughed at?" Lady Elizabeth had teasingly responded. Closing her book with a light thump, Elizabeth interrupted Darcy's musings. He looked up from the page he had been staring at for quite some time, directly into the most amazing dark eyes. Refusing to look away, he said, "Lady Elizabeth." "Mr. Darcy." "You're staring at me." "Indeed, sir. I am wondering how long you mean to pretend that I am not in the room." "Was I doing that?" "You know you were. You have not spoken a single word to me since greeting me upon my arrival. Either I am so boring, or your book is so absorbing. Given the conscientious manner in which you have been adhering to your book, I pray it is the latter." Darcy moistened his lips. "My book certainly is interesting, but that's not to say I find you boring. On the contrary." "So I am not boring. What a relief, for I should hate to think you find me dull and dreary." "I believe you are teasing me again." "No, I know better than to do that. I always endeavour to keep your good opinion. That is, assuming I ever possessed it." "Trust me, young lady, you have my good opinion." Closing his book, he leaned forward. "And now that you have my undivided attention, what do you plan to do about it?" Flustered more than she would have liked by her companion, Elizabeth began to feel the danger of her coquettish banter with her brother's friend. A man of sense and education, Mr. Darcy was quite unlike any of the other gentlemen of her acquaintance. "If I am not careful, I shall grow afraid of him. That would never do." Now he was staring at her, daring her. How she wished she could find her voice in the wake of his piercing, nay, intoxicating gaze. There were any number of things she might say next. Nothing immediately sprang to mind, and she began to feel her colour rising.